What's up guys, Layton here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the War Within Alpha. We are going to be looking at Fury Warrior talent changes and buffs in the War Within, and specifically taking a look at the Slayer tree. But before we get into the video, I'd like to announce a special giveaway. Courtesy of Blizzard, we have one Lucky Quillin Cub pet to give away in celebration of the launch of the last patch of Dragonflight 10.2.7 Dark Heart. The reason that we are giving this pet away during this specific video is because recently, with the launch of this patch, Blizzard is massively buffing Fury Warriors in PvP, and for those of you who have followed me for a while, you know my favorite warrior spec is Fury. So we're going to get in there, do some retail Fury Warrior gameplay soon enough. Servers are not currently live yet. But in order to win this giveaway, you must have an NA region account. Drop your battle tag in the comments of the video, and let me know what class you're going to be playing for the last patch of Dragonflight if you're going to be playing one. I will get back to you with my battle tag. I will add you on BNet, and then I'll give you the code if you are the winner. Just randomly given away. All right, now let's get into Slayer Fury Warrior. All right, starting off with the Warrior talent tree. A couple things you'll notice. It's much easier to pick up Shockwave in the Warrior talent tree. There's also been a number of changes, such as Bounding Stride is now towards the top of the talent tree, Bitter Immunity towards the middle, not the lower. The lower portion, I believe, is maybe below double time before. We also now have Piercing Howl all the way on the right, along with Berserker Shout, and a couple of the minor talents have changed. I believe Frothing Berserker might be a little bit less percentage rage refunded. I'm not entirely sure. And then also, we have Crushing Force now, which is, I believe this was added last week. So you take 2 out of 2 points in Crushing Force, it increases Bloodthirst damage by an additional 20%, and gives it an additional 10% critical strike chance. So this is now being picked up over Overwhelming Rage. You also have Rumbling Earth now located below this Shockwave thing. There's no more auto crit or increased damage modifier on Shockwave. That talent is gone. We also have, all the way on the left down here, we have Wrecking Throw, Shattering Throw. So it looks to me that it's a tiny bit more difficult to pick up some of the warrior utility spells. So I'm imagining we would either be dropping Frothing Berserker if we needed a Wrecking Throw, or if we needed to take a Bitter Immunity, something like that, or if the rotation doesn't feel too great by losing this talent, then maybe we drop, we could drop the movement speed. In my opinion, probably I'm just going to be dropping Frothing Berserker for any one of the utility talents here. Honestly, like Bitter Immunity is probably a nice little baseline talent to have, and then when you need Wrecking Throw or Shattering Throw, you just keep swapping out some of these talents here. But remains to be seen. I'm sure the Warrior talent tree will change a little bit more. And then I'll come back and talk about some of the capstone talents in just a moment here. So let's talk about the Fury tree. So, number one thing you notice when you take a look at the Fury tree here, what is this spell? Oh, it's BLADESTORM. BLADESTORM is back for Fury Warriors. It is now located in a shared node with the Ravager, and Storm of Steel is still usable with BLADESTORM. So if I take Storm of Steel right here, I get 2 charges of BLADESTORM. Remains to be seen if this is going to be actually a used talent, because Hurricane is pretty strong, giving you that strength. But BLADESTORM is actually doing a lot of damage right now, like single target. So I'm struggling to justify losing 30% damage, but then again, that's a lot of CC immunity, and you can actually make your BLADESTORM channel longer with the Slayer tree here. You give it a couple more spins with one of these talents here. Some talent in here makes it spin more. Actually, I'm not sure if it makes it last longer or just gives it extra spins in the same time frame. I'll have to double check and verify that. But in this tree here, you will notice that Reckless Abandon it's going to be tough to take now. So Anger Management reduces BLADESTORM cooldown. BLADESTORM has huge synergy. Well, actually, the whole Slayer tree is about BLADESTORM. But basically, every time you get a tick of BLADESTORM, you get this stacking debuff on the target that increases your damage done to the target by 1%. And you can pretty much have it at 10% with full uptime through the Slayer procs here. The, let's see, Frenetic Flurry right here. So Bloodthirst has a chance to cause you to unleash an empowered partial Bladestorm, striking all enemies around you once for 250% additional Bladestorm damage. So that's why I think taking the extra charge of Storm of Steel hurts Fury a little bit, because that Bladestorm is slightly, it's going to be 30% less when you're really trying to chunk people with these big Bladestorm procs. Onslaught and Tenderize are pretty much the same here. Reckless Abandon, so you're not going to have that crushing blow Bloodthirst anymore. I don't know if it's worth. Blizzard just also buffed Bloodthirst, baseline Bloodthirst by a lot, and put in Crushing Force. So it's going to be tough to justify using Reckless Abandon, at least as a Slayer, warrior. I haven't really done too much testing on the was it the Mountain Thane warrior or something like that? I call it the Lightning Fury warrior, the enhanced Fury warrior, whatever the lightning spec is called. But I think most likely the Fury warrior spec will turn out to be something like this. Like maybe you don't take Ashen Juggernaut, but then again, I do think the proc chance, this talent here, Imminent Demise, is a little low right now. I don't feel like my Sudden Death procs are any more than retail, so it might be bugged at the moment, but we'll see. Oh yeah, so here's the talent. So Sudden Death has a chance to reset the cooldown of exit, normal Sudden Death stuff, but using Sudden Death accelerates your next full Bladestorm, striking one additional time, max 3. Bladestorm's total duration is unchanged. Okay, so my apologies for earlier. It does not increase the duration. It increases the number of times it ticks, meaning it's just more burst on your Bladestorm here. Outside of that, we don't have too many changes. I believe like right here, this side of the right tree changed a little bit. There was like one talent below the improved Raging Blow, but I forget what it is. Maybe Wrath and Fury was, I think improved Whirlwind was in the middle and Wrath and Fury was like right here maybe. Raging Blow deals 15% increased damage, and while enraged, Raging Blow has a 10% increase chance to instantly reset the cooldown. Yeah, I think that was like somewhere up here. I could be wrong though. One change that I do not like on the Fury tree, and this is probably my biggest negative, is the choice node between Frenzied Enrage and Powerful Enrage. So Enrage increases the damage of your abilities by an additional 15% and increases the Enrage duration by 1%, or the old Enrage Haste. Enrage increases your haste by 15%, increases your movement speed by 10%. I feel like not having Frenzied Enrage feels bad. But then not taking Powerful Enrage seems kind of troll, because that's 15% additional damage, and you don't have full uptime. Like, if we had full uptime in PvP, sure, Frenzied Enrage every time. But Powerful Enrage has big synergy with your Bladestorm and stuff here. So, yeah, it's tough. And Frenzied Enrage feels really good, so I'm just playing it at the moment, hitting the dummy. But in reality, I think Powerful Enrage is probably the move. All right. So, now that we have talked about most of the talent changes here, let's get into Slayer Warrior. So, let's start with Slayer's Dominance. Your attacks have a high chance to overwhelm your target's defenses and trigger a Slayer Strike, dealing about 15k additional damage and applying a marked for execution, increasing the damage they take from your next execute by 10%, stacking 3 times. Now, I want to show you guys what this spell looks like real quick, and I guess I had a little talent change to do, but it has a pretty cool animation. It looks like a Shadow Strike, like a sub-rogue Shadow Strike, and I'm sure it will look a little cooler with this, with actual transmog, not this leveling gear, but let's see if I can get a proc here. Right there, you see that additional strike? It's a fairly common proc. And the sound bugs on it, but that second, like, offhand slash... Oh, there's the Bladestorm proc. Pretty cool, pretty cool. That second Bladestorm proc, and this is another good little demonstration. That Bladestorm proc also procs your Storm of Destruction slow, by the way, which I was going to get into later. But your rotation feels so good. Previously in Dragonflight, you didn't have, depending on the season, you didn't have much of a reason to push Bloodthirst. You always wanted to be stacking your, where is it here? Your Slaughtering Strikes with your Raging Blow, and Raging Blow did significantly more damage than Bloodthirst. Now, you have a reason. You want to be pushing Bloodthirst on cooldown, but you'll also really want to be pushing Raging Blow on cooldown too. Really, they made Bloodthirst have a purpose in addition to just having a chance to enrage you and also restoring some HP. It now deals significant damage, and it also procs your Frenetic Flurry, that BLADESTORM, that single tick of BLADESTORM right here. Maybe we'll actually get one. We'll see. Anyways, back to the talents here. Overwhelming Blades. Each strike of BLADESTORM applies Overwhelmed to all enemies affected, increasing the damage you deal to them by 1% for 20 seconds, max 10 stacks. So this right here, Overwhelming Blades, can pretty much be maintained 100% of the time. If you proc a Frenetic Flurry, it will then refresh the timer on Overwhelming Blades. So once you get this up, as long as you have the uptime, you will most likely keep that damage buff up. Our choice note here, Relentless Pursuit versus Vicious Agility. So Heroic Leap CDR, Charge CDR, and Heroic Leap CDR actually versus Charge, removing all movement and parry effects and granting you 70% move speed for 3 seconds. Yeah, I like this one. You just charge and then you fly. Pretty cool, but who knows? Maybe the CDR will end up being a little bit better. I kind of doubt it. We already went over Imminent Demise, so we're going to take a look at this one. Death Drive. You heal for 50% of the damage dealt by sudden death. So you get that proc execute. You're going to be healing up. We have another choice note here, Slayer's Reflexes. So Slayer's Reflexes, the strikes, the proc hit, has a 50% chance to reset the cooldown of Bloodthirst. Okay, so it speeds up your rotation a little bit. Cool. Versus giving Bloodthirst a reduced cooldown. I don't think constant pressure is going to be that important because you still do want to hit your Raging Blows due to the Slaughtering Strikes buff. Next up here, we have a choice note between Thrill of the Kill. Execute increases your auto attack speed by 30% versus Tunnel Vision. In PvP, I'm guessing it's going to be Thrill of the Kill because Tunnel Vision, your auto attack speed increases by 2% every 3 seconds. That's kind of a long duration. So that makes me think of like single target boss fights where you're not really changing targets. Slayer's Focus, Bloodthirst damage increased by 20%. That's great. A little bit more damage on our generators. Frenetic Flurry, this is our BLADESTORM proc. Slay, marked for execution, increases the critical strike chance and critical strike damage of your next execute on targets by 10%. Okay, so this whole left tree is just modifying sudden death and your executes. And then finally here we have Unrelenting Onslaught. When you execute a target that you've been marked for execution, you both reduce the cooldown of BLADESTORM by 5 seconds and apply 2 stacks of Overwhelm to the target per stack of marked for execution consumed. Cool. So we generate these marks here by those Slayer strikes, and then we consume... it looks like we consume our marked for executions with the... what's it called here? The Imminent Demise procs. At least, I think I'm reading that right. Let me read that again. When you execute a target that you've marked for execution, you both reduce the cooldown of BLADESTORM by 2 seconds and apply 2 stacks of Overwhelm. Okay, so we're not ever getting rid of stacks. It's just like using the execute procs or executes into the Slayer dominant stacks is good. I think what you consume is... Where's the buff here? I think you consume the Slayer marks, not the Frenetic Flurry marks. Yeah. That's what's happening here. I was getting the this one here. I was getting the Overwhelmed Blades with the Frenetic Flurry procs confused with the Slayer's Dominance procs with the marked for execution. Okay. Understood. All right, so I'm going to show a little bit of gameplay on the target dummy, and after that, probably just wrap up the video, and we'll have a future video for gameplay. Maybe I can find some duels and stuff. Currently, there's really not too many people playing alpha, especially since that new patch just came out, and we have Kata coming out as well. So might have to wait when we get closer to beta to actually get some dueling testing. But all right, let's take a look at the dummy. So I'm going to start off here by charging the dummy, press my Bloodthirst, get my 2 Raging Blows up, get a Rampage, get an Onslaught, Raging Blow. Kind of want to hit the Bloodthirst on cooldown to get those procs up. No Sudden Death procs yet. No Bloodthirst procs either. There was a Slayer Strike right there. Alright. Really get in here and do as much burst as we can. There's a proc. And keep in mind, my gear is really bad, by the way. Really, really bad. Like, it is awful. And I'm the wrong stats. There's a little Bloodthirst proc. Probably should be pushing it a little bit more often here. Yeah, we're going to push it on a cooldown. I think we'll do that. So as you can see, the proc chance for sudden death, it feels pretty low. I've had 2 procs, and I've had only a single proc of Bladestorm. So there does look like there's supposed to be a little bit of tuning here. But you can reset the cooldown on Bladestorm. Oh, there's another proc. You can reset the cooldown on Bladestorm pretty easily. And I think, at least I'm pretty sure, let me double check here. Let me get a Rampage up. I'm pretty sure that anger management is not working on Bladestorm. So we got 40 seconds. Yeah, anger management currently bugged, not working on Bladestorm. So I will go ahead and report that real quick. But it looks like the executes into the marked for executions are still actually giving Fury Warriors cooldown reduction on the Bladestorm. So realistically, your Bladestorm is probably going to be like a 30-second cooldown or less between running Storm of Destruction, having the Unrelenting Onslaught execute procs, and then also just the anger management. Let me go bug report this. Not reducing Blade Storm CD. All right. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I think Fury Warrior feels very enjoyable to play. I think there's some tuning that they have to do here, but I do think the damage is going to be pretty insane when we finally get the proper stat setup, proper gear. One more thing that I did want to mention is Odin's Fury. Odin's Fury right here is kind of dead in the water. We're not really taking a dot build with Bloodborne, so that also means that we're going to be running Berserker's Torment, which means we're giving Avatar a little bit more damage because Avatar is going to be proccing our... Avatar and Recklessness are going to proc each other. I actually kind of prefer Berserker's Torment, at least with this build, with the CDR build here. It's going to feel real nice having Recklessness on a short cooldown that also gives Avatar. So you're going to be able to, eventually, when this whole thing gets bug fixed and tuned in a little bit, you're going to be setting up Recklessness with Bladestorm pretty much every time. And you'll be able to do a Bladestorm in between Recklessness setups. It's going to feel so nice. Or maybe there's some world where we take the double Bladestorm. But as it stands, I think there's just some bug fixes that we have to get on top of. And then Fury will be nice and juicy here. But yeah, I do think the increase to both the proc chance of sudden death from that talent on the top left of the Slayer tree here, imminent demise, I'm pretty sure this is not actually working. So sudden death's chance to reset the cooldown of execute and make it usable and any target regardless of health is increased. I don't feel that. I currently don't feel that. So I'm gonna go ahead and report this as an issue. Currently does not feel like it's increasing proc. Oh, no, I can't type proc chance. All right. And then one more thing here I was going to add. The Bladestorm proc feels very, very... It doesn't feel super low. I've had testing sessions off recording where the proc is just like constantly happening for me. But while I'm sitting here recording, and of course, you know, this happens while I'm trying to show off the spec, which I actually find really fun. I don't get that many procs. But keep in mind, you do have to be pushing... Oh, there we go. Now that I'm talking about not having the procs, oh, we get back-to-back procs. Okay, so maybe the Bladestorm proc chance is really not that bad. But the whole imminent demise thing, that definitely feels kind of bugged. It definitely feels a little bit bugged to me. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about Fury Warrior if you're looking forward to playing it. I personally am definitely going to be playing Fury Warrior in the War Within. I think Slayer Fury Warrior is going to kick ass. I think it's going to be real good. Oh, let me show you guys one more thing before I sign off here. Bladestorm and Stormbolt. Right through the Bladestorm. Right through the Bladestorm. So cool. Anyways, all right, guys. That is about it for me. So remember, again, if you want to win that pet, go ahead and leave your battle tag in the comments below, and I will comment back and add you on BNet. And make sure that is, unfortunately, NA only. But yeah, alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.